You have believed a lie. You have worshipped a shadow and called it real. You have stared at a number on a screen and bowed in fear before its false authority. But I say unto you, your bank account is not your God. Your financial statement is not your truth. What you see is only the residue of past declarations. Speak differently, and the number must obey. Appearances are nothing. Spirit is everything. You have made money your master when it was always meant to be your servant. Today, you reclaim your word as law. You remember who you are. I speak now to the divine mind within you, the voice that was silenced by fear, choked by bills, buried under shame. I say, rise. I say, speak. I say, overflow begins not when money comes, but when truth is spoken. Lack has no law to sustain it. Scarcity has no spiritual power. The wall you've been staring at is made of vapor and memory. Speak, and it will vanish. Your tongue is your weapon. Your voice is your wand. Your account waits for your word. Let the lie fall. Let the truth roar. Let overflow begin. There is no law of chance. There is no law of luck. There is only the law of the spoken word. You are not poor because the world has failed you. You are not struggling because of the economy or your upbringing or your wage. You are living inside the echo of your own decrees. You have spoken failure, and failure stood at attention. You have repeated the words, not enough, and not enough marched into your experience. You said, I never have quite enough, and life, obedient as ever, said, as you wish. You are not a victim of money. You are a creator of condition. For the word is first. The word is seed. The word is power. And what is spoken in boldness, backed by the soul, must come forth in form. The law of the spoken word is divine law, not man's opinion, not positive thinking, not wishful hoping, but spiritual law, immutable and immediate when backed by faith. Job 22:28 tells the truth plainly. Thou shalt also decree a thing, and it shall be established unto thee. It does not say, thou shalt work harder. It does not say, thou shalt earn it by toil. It does not say, thou shalt suffer thy way into abundance. It says, decree. Speak. Announce with authority what is yours by divine inheritance, and it shall be established. The decree goes before. The visibility follows. For the realm of form is the echo chamber of the tongue. Yet you have been trained to whisper in fear, to beg where you should declare, to worry where you should rule. You have waited for signs, for shifts, for human channels. But divine law does not wait on man. Divine law responds to itself. Spirit responds to spirit. When you speak from the place of dominion, the universe bows. When you declare from the high place of knowing, the winds rearrange, the money appears, the channels form, the supply rushes in. Not because you earned it, not because you pleased someone, but because you finally spoke it. Lack is not a condition, it is a confession. And as long as you confess lack, speak scarcity, repeat your insufficiency as though it were holy, you shall live beneath your rights. You will wear the garments of struggle and call them humility. You will carry the weight of unpaid bills and call it fate. You will suffer under the illusion of delay and call it God's will. But none of this is truth. None of this is law. It is only the hypnotism of the race mind, passed down from generation to generation, the false belief that your good is somewhere else, sometime later, earned by someone holier, richer, better, or more worthy. But I tear the veil from that lie today. I strike it down with the sword of the word. You are not on layaway with heaven. You are not on probation with God. The storehouse is open. The vault is full. The delivery waits not on paperwork, but on your decree. So I ask you, what are you speaking over your bank account? What name have you given your wallet? What energy are you breathing into your bills? Are you blessing or cursing your money with every breath? Are you watering your supply with doubt? Are you slandering your own abundance every time you say, I can't afford it? I say unto you, let the old speech die. Let the slave tongue be burned in the fire of truth. Let every word that passed your lips in fear be forgiven. Speak again, this time with fire. Speak again, this time as one with authority. Say not, one day I'll be free. Say, this day I am free. Say not, if only I had more. Say, there is always more where that came from. For it is the tongue that tills the soil. It is the voice that stirs the wind. It is the word that holds the mold into which God pours the wealth of the invisible. I say this not as theory, but as law. The law of the spoken word is the master key. No truth can bypass it. No miracle can unfold without it. It is not enough to know you are divine. You must speak as if you know it. You must move your lips as one who governs reality. For he who decrees in faith is backed by the storehouses of heaven. He who commands from divine authority is carried by angels into manifestation. He who speaks riches with conviction will never be forsaken by supply. It is not by effort, it is not by labor, it is by decree. You decree a thing, and it shall be established. That is law, that is power, that is your inheritance. Use it. When the balance is low and the fear begins to rise, speak. When the digits dwindle and the heart tightens, speak. When the rent is due and the account is thin, do not shrink. Do not spiral into figures and calculations. Do not let your eyes be the judge of your fortune. Speak, for your words are more powerful than any number. Your decree is more real than any document. Your voice is the true currency of the kingdom. And in the hour of appearance, you must not collapse. You must command. I have seen the most desolate financial situations turn in a single day, not because of effort, not because of favor from a man, but because a woman stood before her bills, lifted her chin, and said with power, God is my instant, lavish, unfailing supply. I do not look to man for money, I look to spirit, and spirit never fails. That one line, when spoken with belief and rhythm, carries more force than hours of mental agony. It calls forth the invisible. It shifts the atmosphere. It issues an order to substance itself. So I give you now the sacred phrases that pierce through panic. Do not wait to feel ready. Do not wait until you mean it. Speak until you mean it. Speak until the lie loses its grip. Speak until the vibration rises and the bank balance bows before the name of God. Say it with me now. My supply is God, and God is inexhaustible. Again, my supply is God, and God is inexhaustible. When fear whispers, you won't make it this month, you reply, this month is already paid, under grace, in a perfect way. When the voice of lack hisses, you can't afford that, you rise and declare, there is no limitation in divine mind. There is no ceiling on my good. What I desire is already mine. You must learn to speak in the face of fear, not after it. You must learn to command when the shadows appear, not when the sun returns. For your voice is the light. Your words are the lamp unto your feet, and fear cannot dwell where the word of God is present. The moment fear arises, do not analyze. Do not rehearse your worries. Do not consult your calculator or sink into shame. That is the trap. That is the race mind spell. Instead, let your tongue become your sword. Speak and cut through the fog. Let these declarations become your shield and your chariot. My words open the storehouse of heaven. I speak overflow, and it comes. I command divine money, and it arrives. Say it. Let it fall from your lips even if your voice trembles. Let the truth speak louder than the doubt in your belly. Declare, I am not under financial law. I am under spiritual law, and spiritual law provides. You are not a beggar. You are not a statistic. You are a spiritual being, backed by the law of opulence, sustained by the treasury of the unseen. I once spoke to a woman who was drowning in bills. She said, I can't even open the envelopes anymore. I said, then speak to them unopened. She thought I was mad. But I told her, put your hand on the pile and say, every bill is paid, every account is settled. Divine order governs all I owe and all I receive. She obeyed. Days later, Unexpected checks arrived, and the debt dissolved, not because she planned it, but because she declared it. The universe does not need your logic, it needs your authority. So I tell you, when the balance is low, your mouth must be rich. When the funds seem absent, your speech must be present. Declare, divine substance is now manifesting as money in my hands. Not tomorrow, not someday, but now, under grace, in perfect ways. Speak it again and again until it echoes louder than the notifications from your bank. Say, there is always more where that came from. My source is spirit, and spirit never dries up. And do not speak lack casually. Do not gossip about poverty. Do not joke about being broke. Your words are not small talk, they are spiritual power. Do not say, I'm just trying to make it. Say, I am divinely maintained. I am irresistibly provided for. I am walking in prepared abundance. Do not ask for scraps. Speak as air. Speak as one who knows that overflow is not earned, it is released through language. The floodgates are voice activated. The vault is opened by command. The only password is truth. I charge you now to guard your tongue as your most sacred tool. It is the handle to your harvest. It is the key to your kingdom. When your balance is low, do not talk to people. Talk to principle. Do not explain. Declare. Do not spiral. Stand still and speak. Say, my account is full. My pockets are blessed. My supply flows like a river. I am maintained without strain, enriched without delay, and paid in full by Spirit itself. And the world will bend to your decree. The money will come. The bills will be paid. The overflow will arrive. For the law cannot be broken, but it must be spoken. You were never meant to live by numbers. You were never designed to walk by arithmetic. Spirit does not count. Spirit does not budget. Spirit does not balance columns in fear or reduce your future to a calculator. That is the realm of man, and you are not of man, you are of God. You have been hypnotized by digits. You have bowed your head before spreadsheets and declared yourself poor based on earthly measurements. But I say unto you, this is a false god, and its spell must be broken. You were born to walk in the rhythm of overflow, not in the panic of accounting. You were born to move in the silence of divine provision, not in the noise of bills. You were born to live above the ledger, outside the math, beyond the sum total of what this world can calculate. For you are not in the realm of numbers. You are in the realm of spirit. You must awaken from this numeric dream. You must tear down every thought built on the foundation of lack. You must erase every memory formed under the shadow of not enough. Say it with me. I erase all memory of not enough. Again, I erase all memory of not enough. Speak it with rhythm, with fire, with truth behind it. That phrase is not poetry. It is a weapon. It is a divine decree that reaches into the root of your subconscious, into every cell, every generational echo, every record of fear stamped upon your inner world. When you say it, you dig up the lie that says, there's never quite enough. When you say it, you shatter the inner script that says, it always runs out. When you say it, you cancel the pattern that counts pennies in the presence of divine abundance. Hear me clearly. You are not your balance. You are not your bank. You are not your salary. You are not the sum of digits on a screen. You are the spoken word of God in motion. You are the channel of infinite supply. You are the place through which abundance flows, not because of what you've done, but because of who you are. When you believe otherwise, you step into a spell. The spell of money as God. The spell of earning as righteousness. The spell of numbers as reality. But the law does not honor spells. The law dissolves them, and it begins with your declaration. Speak again. I am not in the realm of numbers. I am in the realm of spirit. Say it again until you feel the shift. Say it until your mind quiets and your soul stands up. Say it until the digits fade and the truth returns. Do not let the world shrink your mind to decimals. Do not let men teach you that net worth equals value. You are not limited by your wage. You are not defined by your expenses. You are not chained to your income. You are moved by the Spirit. You are funded by the unseen. You are rich beyond the reckoning of markets, and all appearances to the contrary are nothing more than mirages, echoes of old beliefs, phantoms of fear, ghosts of conditioning passed down by those who never knew the law. But you know it now, and now the lie must fall. Begin to build a new rhythm in your words, a divine drumbeat to override the chant of the world. Begin to speak the vibration of truth until it hums in every cell. Say, I see overflow. I speak overflow. I command overflow. Again, I see overflow. I speak overflow. I command overflow. Let it become your breath. Let it become your heartbeat. Let it become the music of your mornings and the fire of your nights. When you hear the voice of doubt, interrupt it with the rhythm of wealth. When you glance at your account, do not wince, declare. When someone tells you what you can't afford, do not argue, override. You are not bound by logic. You are not trapped by past patterns. You are in the realm of spirit, and spirit obeys the spoken word. Do not be afraid to speak extravagantly. Do not shrink your words to match your current conditions. Speak as one who commands, not one who pleads. Say, I live in divine surplus. I give from overflow. I receive without delay. I walk in prepared abundance. And when your mind tries to bring you back to numbers, remind it who's in charge. Remind it of your new realm. Say, I am not in the realm of numbers. I am in the realm of spirit. I erase all memory of not enough. I see overflow. I speak overflow. I command overflow. These are not suggestions. These are not positive thoughts. These are not hopes. These are orders issued from the throne of your spiritual dominion. These are divine statements of fact, enforced by law, sealed by consciousness, backed by heaven. Let the old accountant in your mind be silenced. Let the spreadsheet of fear be deleted. Let the tallying of insufficiency be burned on the altar of truth. You are not here to survive. You are here to multiply. You are not here to make ends meet. You are here to walk in the infinite circle of increase. Spirit knows no subtraction. Spirit operates only in expansion. And as you align your word with spirit, the expansion begins. As you speak overflow, you see overflow. As you command supply, supply comes rushing in, not as the world gives, but as the law decrees. Say it one final time. I erase all memory of not enough. I am not in the realm of numbers. I am in the realm of spirit. I see overflow. I speak overflow. I command overflow. And so it is. You have begged long enough. You have pleaded, hoped, whispered, and wished, and still the doors have not opened, because divine doors do not respond to begging. They respond to boldness. They respond to command. They open at the sound of spiritual authority, not emotional desperation. You have stood outside the vault, knocking with trembling hands, waiting for a sign, waiting for someone to say you've done enough. But I tell you now, the vault is not opened by effort. The vault is not opened by morality. The vault is not opened by silence. It is opened by speech. It is opened by one thing and one thing only, the voice of dominion, the voice that knows, the voice that refuses to shrink, the voice that speaks as God, not about God. That voice is in you, and today it must rise. I say to you, stop asking, start declaring. Stop wishing for abundance to notice you. Begin commanding it to come forth. You have sat in circles of soft prayers, afraid to speak too much, lest you seem greedy. But what man calls greed, heaven calls agreement. What man calls too much, spirit calls natural. You were not sent here to blend in with lack. You were not called to live quietly beneath your divine right. You were not anointed to survive. You were crowned to reign. And yet your words betray your royalty. You say, I'm just trying to get by. You say, I'll be okay with just enough. You say, I don't need much. But listen to me now. Every time you speak in smallness, you delay your own flood. Every time you defend lack with humility, you slap the hand of spirit reaching to pour out more. False humility is not holy. It is a curse dressed in decency. It is the voice of the old mind trying to keep you comfortable in chains. Do you not know who you are? Do you not remember the lineage you walk in? You are the image and likeness of divine power. You are the Word made flesh. You are the presence of wealth, the temple of overflow, the mouthpiece of divine decree. You are not here to measure your needs against the world's resources. You are here to speak from the treasury of heaven. You are here to establish the kingdom through your tongue. You are here to make the invisible visible by the boldness of your voice. Why then do you mumble? Why do you hide your request behind politeness? Why do you dress up lack and call it spiritual? It is time to cast out the beggar. It is time to silence the voice that asks, "Is it okay to want more?" Yes, it is okay. It is holy. It is law. It is required that you walk in the fullness of your good, not just for you, but for every soul you will bless through your abundance. So now I say to you, speak again. But this time, speak from your throne. This time, speak with your crown on. This time, speak as one who remembers their inheritance. Say it now with power. I now speak as one with God's abundance. Again, I now speak as one with God's abundance. That sentence will tear the veil. That sentence will break the chain. That sentence will shake the gates. Because it is not the voice of a seeker, it is the voice of a speaker, a declarer, a governor of form. It is the voice that commands and expects. It is the voice that speaks not to lack but over it, not from the valley but from the mountaintop. You must challenge your own identity now. You must confront the self that was trained to wait, to shrink, to adjust. You must renounce the inner voice that says, maybe later, maybe for someone else, maybe when I'm ready. That voice is not you. It is the residue of the race mind, the old inheritance of fear. And I say, cast it out. I say, silence it with speech. Say, I now speak as one with God's abundance, and all things are added unto me. Say, I do not look around. I look within. I do not measure. I decree. Your money waits for your new identity. Your overflow waits for your new self-concept. Your next level waits for your refusal to shrink one more inch to make others comfortable with your bigness. This is the turning point. This is the fork in the road. Will you return to the small self, the careful self, the soft-spoken slave of appearances? Or will you rise in this moment and say, I now speak as one with God's abundance, and therefore I lack nothing. If you will say it, mean it, live it, and let no man strip it from your lips, then overflow must come. Not because I say so, but because the law cannot be broken, and it always obeys the voice of the one who knows who they are. Let us now seal this word in rhythm. Let us anchor truth in repetition. Let us turn from appearances and face the invisible, and with bold lips and unwavering breath, establish new law in the subconscious. For affirmation is not repetition for repetition's sake. It is the drumbeat of recreation. It is the sound of a soul refusing to return to the lie. It is the holy patterning of new thought upon the inner realm where all form begins. So speak not these phrases as suggestion. Speak them as creation. Speak them as law. Speak them as one who carries the seed of wealth and dares to plant it in the field of the unseen. Say with me now, the money I see is not my source, spirit is. Say it again, not just with voice, but with soul. Feel the statement pierce the veil. Let it dissolve every tether to the world of appearance. Let it sever your dependency on jobs, clients, systems, and salaries. You are not bound to the flow of man. You are not limited to what the eyes perceive. Your money is not your source. It is the result of your source. And your source is spirit. Spirit is unending. Spirit is infinite. Spirit has no delay, no denial, no reduction, no recession. The money I see is not my source, spirit is. Let the old fear collapse beneath the power of that truth. Now say with me, I speak divine deposits, and they arrive. Let the words roll through your body. Let them rewrite the program that once said money was hard, that wealth was random, that deposits were rare. No more. You are not waiting for a man to approve you. You are not performing for income. You are not earning divine deposits. You are speaking them. And because you speak them, they arrive. They show up not through the logic of the world, but through the genius of the law, through channels you did not expect, through ways you could not calculate, through miracles you cannot explain. I speak divine deposits, and they arrive. Let it be the first phrase on your tongue when you wake. Let it be the sound that drowns out every voice of doubt. Now we ascend even higher. Speak with me. My words are rich, and so am I. Do not hesitate. Do not doubt the truth. If your words are filled with increase, your life must follow. If your words are dripping with truth, your hands must overflow. You cannot speak richness and walk in lack unless you allow the lie to rise again. But we do not allow. We govern. We decree. We speak richness and we become richness. We speak supply and we attract supply. We speak plenty and we live in plenty. My words are rich, and so am I. Let it wash over your memory, your name, your history, your past associations with money, shame, guilt, or fear. All of it dissolves in the river of new rhythm. Speak it again, louder, truer, bolder. My words are rich, and so am I. Now bring it all together. Now plant the banner in your soul. Now declare what the law has been waiting for. Say with me, I now overflow by divine decree, not because you earned it, not because you hoped for it, but because you spoke it, because you aligned with the law, because you stood up and used your tongue like the wand it was made to be. You did not ask, you did not beg, you decreed, and what is decreed in faith must appear in form. What is spoken in truth must take shape in reality. I now overflow by divine decree. One more time, with all that you are. I now overflow by divine decree. Let it be the law that governs your finances. Let it be the atmosphere of your home. Let it be the tone of your breath and the signature of your presence. You do not overflow someday. You do not overflow conditionally. You overflow now, and it is done. If something in you shifted, say so. If your mind opened, if your breath deepened, if your heart remembered the truth, do not keep it quiet. This is holy ground. This is not entertainment. This is not information. This is transformation by law. And when the soul is stirred by truth, it must speak. It must respond. It must rise and testify to its own remembering. So I ask you now, not for my sake, but for yours, if you felt the chains loosen, if you felt the lie break, if you felt the wealth within you rise like a tide, declare it. Speak in the comments your new supply. Type your overflow into being. Write not a story of your past lack, but a sentence of your new dominion. I overflow now. My voice is my wealth. Spirit pays all debts, and I walk in divine surplus. Whatever is true, speak it. Share it. Ground it into the world of form with the sacred act of public agreement. And if your soul recognizes something here, return. Not for content, but for consciousness. This space is not a channel. It is an altar. It is a place of remembrance. It is a portal into divine law. Subscribe not to follow me, but to follow truth. Subscribe not to gather more information, but to anchor your identity. Let this be your daily well. Let this be your spiritual treasury. Let this be the space where you return again and again to remember what the world taught you to forget, that you are rich now, powerful now, sovereign now, supplied now, and so it is. You cannot serve two masters. You cannot bow to spirit in the morning and tremble before mammon by night. You cannot sing of trust and speak of lack in the same breath. The law will not be mocked, and your words will always reveal whom you worship. There is no neutral ground in consciousness. You either enthrone spirit as your source, or you crown money with false power. You either magnify divine supply, or you exalt digits and bank statements and call it being realistic. But realism is just a lie the world has blessed with numbers. It is a golden calf sculpted from data and wrapped in fear. And I say unto you, break the idol. The law of substitution is divine and exact. You cannot remove an old belief without replacing it with truth. You cannot dissolve worship of money by ignoring it. You must replace it with the worship of God as supply. You must take your eyes off the dollar and fix them on the divine. You must extract your reverence from the market and pour it into the mind of God. For whatever you magnify, you multiply. Whatever you give emotional weight to becomes your ruler. Whatever you chase, you eventually serve. If money is your obsession, it will torment you. If money is your idol, it will control you. But if God is your supply, money becomes your servant. It becomes a tool, not a master. It obeys your word. It arrives without strain. It flows like a river because it is no longer your source. It is your shadow. Do you remember the story? When the Israelites grew impatient with the invisible, they melted gold into the shape of a calf. They said, "Let us worship what we can see. Let us make form our God. Let us bow to what is visible." And so they did. And it cost them the promised land for a generation. They exchanged faith for fear, substance for symbol, eternal source for material safety. And the tragedy was not the idol, it was the shift in focus. They forgot the cloud by day and the fire by night. They forgot the manna that fell from heaven. They forgot that their wealth came not from coins, but from covenant. And the same forgetting plagues the modern soul. You say you trust God, but you worship your budget. You claim to be spiritual, but you bow before the balance sheet. And spirit cannot pour through a divided heart. You cannot serve God and mammon. Not because God is jealous in the way man is jealous, but because the law demands alignment. You cannot tune two frequencies and receive clarity. You must choose one voice, one source, one throne. So I ask you now, quietly but with thunder beneath the question, what do you worship? What do you secretly fear? What do you believe has the final say? Is it the spirit who formed the galaxies and named the stars and numbered the hairs on your head? Or is it a bank? Is it a paycheck? Is it a client, a job, a financial planner, a savings goal? These things may serve you, but do not serve them. These things may flow through you, but do not cling to them. The moment you treat the channel as the source, the channel becomes clogged. The moment you put faith in form, form begins to fail you. For spirit cannot be boxed. Spirit cannot be budgeted. Spirit cannot be enslaved to your human logic. The law of substitution says this: you do not fight lack, you replace it. You do not resist fear, you reframe it. You do not try to stop worshiping money, you start worshiping supply. You start training your tongue to praise invisible abundance. You start blessing the unseen before the seen arrives. You start honoring spirit every time fear comes knocking. You say, "This account is not my source, God is." You say, "I do not bow to digits, I command them." You say, "I trust in the law of divine provision, and therefore I shall not want." Every time you shift your attention, you shift your reality, for the law follows focus. The universe gives form to the image you hold sacred. This is not metaphor, it is law. Your inner altar shapes your outer world. Your daily rituals of thought and speech become the gods you serve, and the gods you serve determine the world you walk in. So tear down the calf, melt the idol, burn the budget upon the fire of your declaration. Say, "I serve spirit and spirit alone. Therefore, money obeys me." Say, "I worship only the invisible. Therefore, the visible arranges itself in my favor." Say, "I shall have no gods before divine supply. Therefore, I now walk in the fullness of every good and perfect gift." And so it is. When the envelope arrives, or the email pings, or the notice flashes with urgency on your screen, do not panic. Do not start rehearsing the story of what you lack. Do not spiral into the old arithmetic of fear. Stop. Be still. Breathe. Then speak. Not to a person, not to a friend, not to a financial advisor, but to the bill itself. That piece of paper, that email line, that demand for payment is not your enemy. It is not even a threat. It is a shadow, a reflection of your old consciousness, a remnant of your former belief in lack. And shadows have no power except what you assign them. Speak to the bill, not about the bill, not around it, not beneath it. Stand above it and declare, you are already paid, under grace, in a perfect way. Do not argue with appearances, command them. Do not explain them to others. Do not discuss them with emotion. Do not multiply their power by putting your fear into words. Bills feed on fear. They grow in influence when you treat them as ultimate truth. But you are no longer a servant to conditions. You are not owned by paper. You are not intimidated by digits. You are a spiritual being endowed with dominion. And spirit pays all debts. Say it aloud, right now, and say it like you mean it. Spirit pays all debts. I walk free. I owe no man anything but to love him. That is not wishful thinking. That is divine law. And law, once invoked, must move. I once spoke with a man drowning in bills. They lined his table like tombstones, and he walked through his house like a ghost, carrying the grief of imagined defeat. I told him, stop confessing what you owe. Start declaring what is true. Do not give those pieces of paper more reverence than the power of God. I told him to lay his hands on each one and say, you are not my burden. You are a shadow, and shadows vanish before the light of truth. I had him say aloud to every demand, you are already paid, under grace, in a perfect way. Within weeks, unexpected checks arrived, old accounts were forgiven, a door opened where there had been no door before. Not because the paper changed, but because he did. You must speak to your bills like a prophet. You must address them with authority. Look at them and say, you are not real in the kingdom of heaven. You do not exist in divine mind. You are already resolved in spirit. That is the denial that clears the path for supply. Not denial in the sense of avoidance or repression, but metaphysical denial, which means stripping the appearance of its false claim to reality. You are not pretending it doesn't exist. You are declaring that it has no power in the realm where you truly live. Say it now, with rhythm and faith. There is no debt in divine mind. Again, there is no debt in divine mind, and I am in divine mind, therefore I am free. Do not confuse the mail with the message. The paper may say do, but your soul says done. The email may say balance, but your word says blessed. The app may show red, but your speech must remain gold. You are not here to report conditions. You are here to revise them with your word. You are not here to obey digits. You are here to declare law. You are not here to panic before bills. You are here to speak over them and watch them dissolve. Say it again. You are already paid under grace. Spirit pays all debts. There is no debt in divine mind. When you speak in this way, you align with the vibration of solution. You open the gates of divine settlement. You release the angels of increase. You call forth right channels, unexpected good, and immediate provision, not because you earned it, not because you figured it out, but because you spoke from your true position. The world says debt must be managed, but Spirit says debt is dissolved in light. The world says you must hustle and budget and strive, but Spirit says stand still and speak the word and watch what I do. You are not under the law of labor. You are under the law of liberty. From this day forward, treat every bill as a servant to your consciousness. Do not fear it. Do not hate it. Speak to it. Assign it new meaning. Declare its payment before you touch your wallet. Say, this is already taken care of by divine order. The funds are released. The way is made. I walk in freedom. Let every obligation become a stage for your declaration. Let every payment become a pulpit from which you preach your provision, and let every appearance of need be answered, not with worry, but with, "You are already paid under grace in a perfect way, and it will be so." You were not born to repeat the patterns of your ancestors. You were not sent here to echo the same struggle, carry the same shame, or rehearse the same story of just enough to get by. You were not placed on this earth to be a carbon copy of survival. You came to end something. You came to begin something. You came to stand at the fork in the bloodline and say, "The cycle ends with me. The floodgates open with me. The story of lack dies here." And you must say it boldly, not in anger, not in blame, but in sacred authority. For you are not fighting your family, you are freeing them. You are not judging the past, you are breaking its false spell. You are not dishonoring those who came before, you are rising to fulfill what they never knew they had the right to claim. Say it now. I uproot the family tree of not enough. Speak it again. I uproot the family tree of not enough. Let that phrase become your internal revolution. Let it dig down into every generational belief that was spoken around dinner tables, passed in glances, embedded in silence. The sighs when bills came due, the warnings not to ask for too much, the sermons of thrift that were soaked in fear, not wisdom, the guilt for desiring more, the shame for wanting beauty, ease, luxury, freedom. You inherited these voices, but you do not owe them your allegiance. You were not born to carry the scarcity of those who walked before you. You were born to transform it, by word, by vision, by decree. There is a spiritual memory that lives inside families, a lineage of thought, a vibration of belief, often unconscious, but profoundly alive. If your mother feared money, you breathed that in. If your father cursed the rich, you absorbed that too. If every adult you knew struggled to survive, your body remembered it. But what is remembered can be rewritten. What was inherited can be recoded. What was received by silence can be broken by speech. And so you must speak again and again until the old frequencies dissolve and a new name is written in the realm of truth. Say, "I am not the child of lack. I am the heir of divine abundance." Visualize now a sacred act, your name being written anew in the book of supply. Your lineage etched with golden ink, a radiant scroll of names, and yours glows not with struggle but with overflow. See it, feel it, speak it. The curse is reversed. The river is opened. The inheritance is released. Say it with fire. The inheritance is released through me. You are the portal. You are the pivot point. You are the awakened one who dares to say what generations feared to believe, that God is not withholding, that money is not evil, that overflow is not greed, that wealth is not the property of the few, that ease is not sin, that opulence is your birthright, because it was God's good pleasure to give you the kingdom. Let the old fears rise now so they can be burned. The voice that says, "You're just like your father," burn it. The memory that says, "No one in our family ever had much," burn it. The belief that says, "Don't stand out, don't want too much, don't shine too brightly," burn it. Say, "I now speak the word of divine inheritance, and the fire of truth consumes every false tradition." You are not betraying your family by prospering. You are healing them. You are rewriting the record. You are planting a new root in the soil of spirit. You are creating a future where children grow up hearing, "There is always more where that came from." You are fully supported. God is your source. Speak your word, and your good will come. Now feel the overflow pour into your name. See it. Gold cascading down the branches of your family tree. Light entering every wound. Provision entering every room. Freedom flooding the spaces where only fear used to live. Speak it. My name is now written in abundance. Speak it louder. My family is now known for divine prosperity. Declare it without apology. I am the vessel of a new legacy. And know this, it does not stop with you. What you speak now becomes a pattern, a path, a ripple that echoes through the unborn generations. You are not just freeing your own bank account, you are breaking the bondage of your bloodline. You do not owe the past your silence. You owe the future your voice. Speak it again. I uproot the family tree of not enough, and I plant a new tree, rooted in spirit, watered by truth, bearing fruit in every season. This is your inheritance, and it begins not with a payment, not with an opportunity, not with an external change, but with your word. So speak, and it is done. You must make a decision now, and it must not be half-hearted. You must choose whether to remain a link in the old chain or become the flame that melts it. The question is not whether you can walk in divine wealth. The question is, will you be the first in your family who dares to? Will you be the one who no longer hides in guilt when abundance knocks? Will you be the one who refuses to speak in the tongue of lack even when others expect you to? Will you carry the torch of truth into a lineage that only ever knew shadows? This is not about money. This is about command. This is about remembrance. This is about your spiritual bloodline receiving a new instruction, not through your effort, but through your authority. Someone must rise first. Someone must speak what no one else was willing to say. Someone must defy the sacred myths of suffering and the noble lies of barely getting by. Someone must be bold enough to look poverty in the eye and say, "Your reign ends with me." Someone must have the courage to look beyond the story of financial trauma, beyond the echoes of unpaid rent and withheld dreams and sacrificed desires, and declare, "I will not pass this down. I will not preserve this fear. I will not bow to this false inheritance one day longer." If not you, who? If not now, when? Say it now, not as a wish, but as a war cry. It ends with me. It begins with me. Let that be your signature in the spirit. Let that be the line you carve in the invisible realms. Say it again, louder, deeper. It ends with me. It begins with me. The lineage of scraping and stretching and silently hoping begins to crack under the sound of your voice. The roots of financial fear tremble as you stand upright in your spiritual identity. You are not continuing the story. You are closing the book and writing a new one. Chapter 1 begins with your declaration. But understand this, speaking is not just for you. It echoes, it rewrites, it breaks and builds at the same time. When you say, "I stand as the wealth of generations made visible," you are not just making a poetic claim. You are embodying a law. You are speaking the memory of your ancestors forward into the truth they never knew they carried. You are saying, "Every prayer whispered in desperation is answered in me." You are saying, "The prosperity that could not find a place in their hands has found a home in mine." You are saying, "I will carry this wealth with reverence, and I will not shrink to make it acceptable." That is command. That is spiritual maturity. That is the crown of divine responsibility. So I ask you again, not softly, but as a trumpet to your soul, will you be the first in your family to walk in divine wealth? Will you speak what was unspeakable? Will you claim what others feared to name? Will you let the abundance of God be seen through your life without apology, without delay, without compromise? Then say it again in sacred finality. It ends with me. It begins with me. I stand as the wealth of generations made visible. Feel that truth root into your bones. Feel that sentence break the silence of centuries. Feel that phrase surround you like armor. Do not wait for evidence. Do not ask for permission. Do not look around to see if anyone else is doing it. Look within, speak from there, and let the law be satisfied by your boldness. The inheritance of divine wealth does not come to the timid. It comes to the one who says, with unshakable truth, "The river of provision flows through me now. I am the prosperity of my lineage. I am the voice that reverses the curse. I am the one." And so it is. Now the decree must be sealed, not with thought, not with desire, not with hope, but with speech. For the word is what carves new grooves in the soul. The word is what chisels new structure in the unseen. The word is what replaces what generations have left unspoken. The word is what rewrites the rhythm of your name. And the word must be spoken aloud, without hesitation, without doubt, with the full force of divine authority behind it. Not softly, not nervously, but with the same certainty that lifts the sun each morning. This is not the hour for contemplation. This is the hour for command. Say it now, with fire. I now speak supply into my bloodline. Let the sound of it reverberate backward through time, echoing into the chambers of every ancestor who longed for freedom but never knew how to speak it. Let it touch your mother's sighs and your father's silences. Let it reach the generations who folded their dreams into drawers and handed down thrift as gospel. Say it again, louder this time. I now speak supply into my bloodline. This is not just your breakthrough. This is the spiritual inheritance of 1,000 voices, finally spoken with authority. You speak it, and they are healed. You speak it, and the pattern breaks. Now say, the curse of lack is broken through my voice. Let that phrase become thunder. Let it become fire. Let it become the divine gavel that slams down and declares, this case is closed. No more quiet desperation. No more hidden dread. No more waiting for conditions to improve. It ends now, not with money in hand, but with the word in your mouth. The curse of lack is broken through my voice. Say it as if your future depends on it, because it does. Say it as if generations are listening, because they are. Say it as if heaven is waiting to act, because it is. The law cannot move until the word is spoken, but once spoken, it rushes to obey. Now bring it into the present, into your senses, into your visible world. Say, I see paid bills, open hands, and overflowing accounts. Speak as if it's already done. Speak as if it's already visible. Speak as if it's already true, because it is. You do not speak to manifest. You speak because you remember. You are not hoping, it is finished. You are not trying, it is already real. Say it again. I see paid bills, open hands, and overflowing accounts. Feel the energy shift in the room. Feel the vibration rise in your chest. You are not reciting, you are ruling. You are not affirming, you are activating the invisible into form. Now we close this round in power. We finish this moment with a phrase that burns through all remaining doubt. Say it now. My mouth is the vault of my fortune. Again, with reverence and fire. My mouth is the vault of my fortune. It is not your resume. It is not your savings. It is not your history. It is your mouth, the holy gate through which God speaks through you. The vault is not in the bank. The vault is your voice. And every time you open it in truth, the lock turns, the door swings wide, and wealth flows. Let no one tell you otherwise. Let no fear convince you to whisper. Let no doubt shrink your declarations. Say it one more time. My mouth is the vault of my fortune. And so it is. If your family's story of financial fear, of whispered lack, of careful dreams and quiet desperation ends with you, declare it. If you felt something ancient in you rise, if you heard a deeper voice take the throne, if you spoke today, not just for yourself, but for the ones who came before and the ones who will come after, write it, seal it, make it law. Let this not be a moment you scroll past, but a moment you mark with your mouth. Say it in the comments as a banner of truth. It ends with me. Overflow begins now. Type it not for the algorithm, not for me, but for you, for the inner self that needs to see it written, declared, and made visible. And let this be your altar. Let this be your signature in the spirit. Let this space become the scroll of the free, the home of those who will no longer bow to inherited lack. Say it now, and return as often as needed, not for content, but for covenant. This is a place of remembrance, and your declaration is its cornerstone. There is a bank more real than your account. There is a treasury more vast than your income. There is a vault not made of steel, but of thought, not guarded by security codes, but by consciousness, and you carry it with you. You carry it behind your eyes, beneath your breath, before your words are ever spoken. It is your imagination, your inner realm, your divine canvas. And it is not fantasy, it is foundation. It is not escape, it is creation. For nothing that appears in your life arrives without first being shaped in your mind. This is the law. This is the truth. This is the root of all visible wealth. All form begins in word-backed imagination. What you do not first see, you will never speak. And what you do not speak, you will never see. You have been trained to distrust your imagination, to treat it as childish, unholy, impractical. You were told to be realistic. But realism is nothing more than collective hallucination, agreed upon appearances without divine authority. Yet spirit does not honor the visible. Spirit moves through the invisible. Spirit honors faith, and imagination is the womb of faith. It is where the soul rehearses its next level before the world can accept it. It is where the blueprint is drawn before the walls are raised. You are not copying reality, you are constructing it. You are not observing the world, you are ordering it. And it is time to take your place behind the controls of your own treasury. God did not design you to parrot what is. He designed you to call forth what is not. Call those things that be not as though they were. Romans 4:17. That is not metaphor, that is instruction. That is the divine formula for manifestation. You are not waiting to react. You are called to initiate. You are not here to agree with conditions. You are here to speak new ones into existence. And you must begin with imagination, not loose daydreaming, not passive wishing, but vivid, rhythmic, word-sealed vision. You must see the deposit before it lands. You must feel the surplus before it arrives. You must walk in the overflow before the world gives you permission. Close your eyes now and build your bank, not the one you check out of habit, but the one that obeys your faith. See the balance, not as a wish, but as a certainty. See the statement, not in red, but in radiant gold. See yourself opening the envelope, unlocking the app, and knowing it is full, it is right, it is done. Not because someone paid you, not because a strategy worked, but because you spoke what you saw, and the law made it so. Feel the weight of a wallet that never empties. Feel the peace of a table surrounded by evidence of answered prayer. Feel the sensation of money moving toward you without friction, because your inner world is no longer filled with hesitation. Now open your mouth and begin to speak what you saw. Let imagination and declaration walk hand in hand. Say, what I see in spirit, I speak in power. What I speak in power, I see in form. Say, my imagination is sacred. It is the blueprint of my supply. I dare to see what no one in my family saw. I dare to picture what my past could never touch. I dare to visualize what spirit has already given. This is the law. You see it first within, then you speak it, and then it must appear. You do not need evidence, you are the evidence. You do not need logic, you operate by divine architecture. The wealth you have been waiting for is waiting on one thing, for you to stop doubting the images that rise in your spirit and begin to call them forth with holy fire. You are the builder and the banker. You are the visionary and the vessel. You are the priest of your own prosperity, and imagination is your sanctuary. Dare to return there often, dare to dwell there boldly, and speak what you see until the world cannot ignore it. For it is written, and it is true. Call those things that be not as though they were, and they shall be. Your bank account is not a mirror of your work ethic. It is not a scoreboard for your education. It is not the mathematical record of your hours, your qualifications, or your intelligence. It is a reflection of one thing, and one thing only, your faith. Faith is the substance of things hoped for, the evidence of things not seen. Faith is the currency of the invisible. And just as your spoken word reveals your belief, your bank reveals your inner certainty about supply. If you believe you must struggle, you will see scarcity. If you believe you are supported by divine law, you will see surplus. Not because of economics, not because of policy, but because of law. divine law, immutable, immediate, always responding, not to effort but to expectation. Do not be deceived by numbers. Numbers are shadows. Faith is substance. Numbers are reports. Faith is command. Numbers look backward. Faith moves forward. If the balance is low, it is not because money is absent. It is because faith has been dimmed, and that faith can be restored in an instant, in one word, in one breath, in one holy act of remembering who you are and what governs your life. You are not under the dominion of digits. You are governed by God. You are funded by the infinite. You are backed by the treasury of spirit, and that supply cannot be seen by the eye or calculated by man. It is only known by faith and claimed by voice. Say it now, and say it as if the vaults of heaven respond to your tone. My faith is now rich. Therefore, so am I. Again. My faith is now rich. Therefore, so am I. This is not poetry. This is instruction. This is spiritual reality asserting itself over illusion. You have spoken lack for so long that the nervous system has accepted it as law. But the moment you say, my faith is rich, you break the agreement with lack. You step out of the courtroom of scarcity and into the throne room of abundance. You shift the inner weather. You change the temperature of your life. Because life does not respond to begging. It responds to belief. Now look directly at me, yes, you, and repeat what I say. Do not just listen. Do not just nod. Say this with me aloud now. The amount I see is irrelevant. My source is spiritual. Again, the amount I see is irrelevant. My source is spiritual. Let the meaning sink deep. Let it sink past the surface and into the architecture of your identity. That number on the screen? It is not your source. That invoice waiting to be paid? Not your source. That check with someone else's signature? Not your source. God is your source. Spirit is your bank. Faith is your deposit. And your word is the transaction. Say this now. I do not live by digits. I live by decree. I do not serve numbers. I serve divine law. Let it pour from your mouth like water over fire. Because every time you say it, you rewrite the software of your life. Every time you declare it, you pull the roots of scarcity out of the subconscious soil. You are not here to monitor a balance. You are here to build one from the invisible realm, and you build it with speech, with rhythm, with law-rooted truth. So I ask you, what have you been saying when you open your banking app? What have you been declaring when you sit down to pay bills? What have you been rehearsing under your breath, thinking no one is listening? Spirit is always listening, and it has no sense of humor about sarcasm. If you say, I'm always broke, it obeys. If you say, I can never catch up, it nods. If you say, there's never enough, it aligns. But when you say, my faith is now rich, therefore so am I, the law shifts. The channels move. The supply begins to pour in, not to reward your effort, but to reflect your new belief. So speak it again, right now. The amount I see is irrelevant. My source is spiritual. My faith is rich. My supply is divine. My words are the transaction that funds my life. Let no condition convince you otherwise. Let no delay deceive you. Let no voice of doubt become louder than the voice of truth. Your bank reflects your faith. So let your faith rise. Let your faith speak. Let your faith overflow. And watch your account follow in perfect order, under grace, by spiritual law. And so it is. Fear must be evicted. It cannot be reasoned with, appeased, managed, or suppressed. It must be removed. It must be cast out with boldness, without apology, without delay. Fear is not wisdom. Fear is not protection. Fear is not intuition. Fear is a liar. Spirit is your truth. Spirit is your source. Spirit is your landlord. And any voice that tells you otherwise, no matter how convincing, no matter how familiar, is not your friend. It is your old jailer wearing a new disguise. It is the echo of the world trying to keep you bound in the realm of appearances, and you must not bow to it. You must speak to it. You must speak above it. You must speak it out of your consciousness and evict it with the decree of law. It begins when you catch it in the act. When that voice arises, quietly at first, then with a growing sense of dread, and says, "What if I can't pay rent?" You do not answer it with logic. You do not sit down with a calculator. You do not call 5 people for advice. You do not rehearse your trauma or scroll through numbers. You respond like a spiritual warrior. You say, "My rent is prepaid by grace." You say it immediately. You say it instinctively. You say it like a sword pulled from the sheath, with no hesitation and no trembling. You say it as one whose house is built on the rock, not on the sand of circumstances. Again, "My rent is prepaid by grace." Feel how that phrase silences the chaos. Feel how it restores breath to your lungs. Feel how it breaks the momentum of anxiety. That one phrase is a wall of fire between you and fear. It is a shield, a sanctuary, a refusal to return to slavery, and you must use it not once, but every time fear comes knocking, because fear is persistent, but so is truth, and truth must speak louder. Say it again now, aloud, even if you are trembling. Fear is a liar. Spirit is my landlord. Say it until something shifts. Say it until the room feels different. Say it until your body remembers who governs your provision. You must make a habit of cancellation. Cancel the thought before it builds a house in your head. Cancel the narrative before it becomes your identity. Cancel the worry with immediate truth. Not 5 minutes later, not after a conversation, not after a meltdown. Immediately. Say, "No appearance can overrule divine order." Let that be your governing sentence. Let that be your legal statement in the court of spirit. The number may look low. The email may sound urgent. The deadline may approach. But none of these have the authority to override divine timing, divine supply, or divine protection. They are appearances, and appearances are not final. Law is final. Truth is final. God is final. The voice of fear often mimics your own. It sounds like your own inner monologue, your own logic, your own lived experience. But don't be fooled. Fear wears your voice like a mask, and it must be stripped away. You will know the difference by how it feels. Fear constricts. Truth expands. Fear panics. Truth declares. Fear predicts doom. Truth commands resolution. When fear says, "It's too late," truth says, "Spirit is never late." When fear says, "There's not enough," truth says, "My supply is infinite and always on time." When fear says, "What if I fail?" truth says, "I cannot fail where God governs my path." The greatest act of spiritual maturity is not feeling less fear. It is speaking louder truth. It is refusing to let fear set the atmosphere. It is walking into the dark room of your finances and flipping the switch with your word. Say it with me now. My rent is prepaid by grace. Fear is a liar. Spirit is my landlord. No appearance can overrule divine order. Say it not as a chant, but as a verdict. You are not calming yourself. You are commanding your reality. You are not managing fear. You are evicting it, burning the lease, locking the door, and handing the keys to truth. And the more you speak in this way, the less fear will even try to enter. It will find your house armed. It will find your gates guarded. It will flee at the sound of your voice. For fear is weak before the decree of one who knows their supply. It cannot argue with the voice of law. It cannot dwell where the name of God has been lifted in power. So speak again, one final time in this chapter, and say it like your future depends on it, because it does. My rent is prepaid by grace. Fear is a liar. Spirit is my landlord. No appearance can overrule divine order. And so it is. There comes a moment when you must rise from the ashes of your own explanations. A holy rebellion stirs in your bones, a sacred refusal to keep narrating the same tired story. A spiritual line is drawn in the sand, and you finally say, "Enough of this." Enough victim energy, enough rehearsing what went wrong, enough explaining why the numbers are low, the opportunities scarce, the doors delayed. enough defending your lack like a badge of humility. You were not born to explain your absence. You were born to command your presence. You were not born to justify struggle. You were born to govern supply. And now I say unto you, step into your financial dominion. You do not owe the world a reason for your lack. You owe the Spirit a declaration of your truth. The old energy that needs to prove, to defend, to apologize, to soften the truth so others aren't uncomfortable with your power. That energy must die. It is the residue of smallness. It is the perfume of poverty. It is the shadow that lingers around greatness when greatness has not yet been fully claimed. But you have heard too much truth to go back now. You have remembered too much to pretend you don't know who you are. You have spoken the word too many times to keep pretending you are a beggar when you are, in fact, a steward of divine opulence. So say it now, with the thunder of freedom. I no longer explain my lack. I command my supply. Again, I no longer explain my lack. I command my supply. That phrase is not a motto, it is a sword. It cuts through the victim identity. It severs the tie to unworthiness. It dismantles the agreement with struggle. When you say it, the old self begins to crumble. The self that waited for external permission. The self that feared judgment for wanting more. The self that thought prosperity had to be earned through suffering. That self has no seat at the table anymore. The king has returned. The queen has stood up. The steward has awakened. It is not arrogance to command what is already yours. It is not pride to refuse to live beneath divine provision. It is not ego to say, I expect increase. That is spiritual alignment. That is law. That is what heaven has been waiting for. Not your politeness, not your fear-drenched gratitude for crumbs, but your dominion, your voice, your full and final agreement with abundance as your normal. Say it now. I now walk as a steward of divine opulence. Speak it as if the atmosphere bends around your words. Speak it as if your very name has shifted frequencies. I now walk as a steward of divine opulence. What does that mean? It means you move through the world with the calm of one who knows they are fully funded by Spirit. It means you no longer check your account to feel safe. You speak to it to feel aligned. It means you carry wealth not only in your wallet, but in your vibration. It means you stop asking for help from systems that were never built to see you free, and you start commanding good from the realm that only responds to truth. It means you dress, walk, speak, and expect as one who governs, not one who gets by. It means you do not shrink when lack appears. You speak, and lack bows. This is the moment you stop repeating the language of the slave. This is the hour when you stop explaining the storm and start commanding the sea. This is the breath in which you choose speech over silence, dominion over defense, royalty over reasoning. Say it one more time and let every cell, every memory, every shadow hear it and fall before it. I no longer explain my lack. I command my supply. I now walk as a steward of divine opulence. And so it is. Now let us enter again into rhythm. Let us speak with the weight of knowing, not the desperation of wishing. Let us affirm, not to attract, but to remember. For you are not calling in something foreign. You are summoning what already belongs to you. You are not asking for permission. You are issuing a decree. You are not hoping for overflow. You are declaring its presence. And with each word, you are not sending a signal into the void. You are shaking the vaults of heaven with the sound of your spiritual identity. You are not hoping to be heard. You are heard. And what hears you is real. What responds to your voice is wealth itself. Say it now, with clarity and certainty. Money hears my voice. Again, money hears my voice. Not because you are chasing it, but because you are aligned with the law. Not because you are worthy through effort, but because you are one with Spirit. And Spirit speaks through you. When you speak, money listens, not as a god, but as a servant, not as a master, but as a tool. When you speak, it bends to your authority. It flows toward the voice that knows its source. You do not have to wonder if it's working. You do not have to force or strain. You speak, and money obeys the vibration of truth. Money hears my voice. Now elevate it. Let the decree rise in power. Abundance obeys my word. Say it again. Abundance obeys my word. It does not hesitate. It does not delay. It does not argue. When truth is spoken in faith, the law moves in exact alignment. What you name, you claim. What you declare, you draw near. You are not at the mercy of conditions. You are the commander of substance, and your words are the instruction to the invisible. Abundance does not need to be convinced. It needs to be commanded. It needs to be spoken to. And it comes not to the most desperate, but to the most aligned. So speak it. Abundance obeys my word. Now we break the waiting spell. Now we dissolve the illusion of distance. Say it now, boldly and finally. My overflow is not coming. It is here. Again, with every ounce of conviction, my overflow is not coming. It is here. You do not wait. You do not defer. You do not delay. In the invisible, in the realm where all things begin, your wealth is already complete. Your abundance is already appointed. Your provision is already made. The idea that it is on the way is the lie of time. But spirit is not on the clock. Spirit is now. Supply is now. Truth is now. My overflow is not coming. It is here. Walk in it. Speak from it. Think with it. Breathe from it. Let that be your climate. And now, let us close this round with the final affirmation, the one that unseals the heavens and drops the veil. The vaults of heaven are now open to me. Say it slowly. Say it reverently. Say it again. The vaults of heaven are now open to me, and see them, feel them, know them. Doors of gold flung wide, channels cleared, resources released, answers arriving, debts dissolved, accounts filled, paths made straight. This is not fiction. This is not fantasy. This is law, and your voice has unlocked it. Not with strain, but with speech. Not with panic, but with proclamation. One more time, for the rhythm of completion. The vaults of heaven are now open to me. And so it is. If something cracked open in you, if you felt the vault shift, the air change, the old fear lose its grip, then say so. Not because you need to prove it, but because a declaration seals what Spirit has begun. Let it be written, let it be witnessed, let it be stamped upon your path like a sign in the heavens. It is done. Type it in the comments, whisper it under your breath, speak it into your atmosphere. It is done. Those 3 words carry power. They are not the end. They are the beginning of a life governed by dominion, not delay. A life where money moves by word. A life where lack is no longer named. A life where overflow is not a concept. It is the climate. And if this word fed you, if it unlocked something, if it reminded you of the wealth within, do not drift back into the noise of the world. Stay close to the frequency of truth. Subscribe not for more content, but to remain in covenant. This is not a platform, it is a sanctuary. This is not a channel, it is an altar where the voice of Spirit is remembered, day by day, line by line, law by law. Subscribe to stay aligned. Subscribe to stay supplied. Subscribe because you have remembered who you are, and overflow has already begun. You have confused the channel with the source. You have looked to the job, the client, the industry, the economy, and said, "This is how I receive." But I tell you plainly, God does not need a job to supply you. Spirit does not require a paycheck to prosper you. Divine law is not restricted by man's systems. The river of wealth does not flow through human employment alone. Man does not live by bread alone, but by every word that proceeds from the mouth of God. And if God's word lives in your mouth, if truth pours from your tongue, then you are already plugged into a higher economy, a divine supply chain that no market crash, no layoff, no closed door can interrupt. Do you understand what I'm saying? Jobs are channels, not sources. Salaries are forms, not substance. Clients are vessels, not vaults. And when one channel closes, the source does not panic. The law does not retreat. Spirit does not require time to recalibrate. The moment you speak the truth, new channels are prepared, new doors are revealed, new forms are birthed out of the unseen. But most people stay staring at the closed door, crying over the bread that's no longer on the table, forgetting that bread was never the true nourishment. It was the word that sustained them. And the word still flows. The law still operates. The vault of heaven never closes. There is a law called the law of immediate supply, and it is yours to activate. It moves at the speed of your spoken word. It does not ask for credentials. It does not require a resume. It does not need your degree, your title, or your years of service. It only requires your alignment. When you stop confusing the vessel with the source, when you stop worshiping the form and return to the formless, when you stop begging the system and start commanding the spirit, that's when the windows of heaven open. Not gradually, not eventually, but immediately. And the supply that appears will not always be logical. It may come through a gift, a favor, a refund, a release, a reversal, a stream you never saw before. But it will come, not by effort, not by toil, but by law. Say this now as you detach from the illusion. God does not need a job to prosper me. Again, I am not funded by my employer. I am funded by divine law. Let those words cleanse your consciousness. Let them burn through the idea that your financial well-being hangs by the thread of another human's decision. It does not. You are not here to serve a system. You are here to speak a kingdom. You are not a worker in Pharaoh's house. You are a governor in God's realm. And where God governs, manna falls without permission, seas part without precedent, and ravens feed the faithful without apology. This is not ancient myth. This is metaphysical law. The supply does not come from man. The supply comes from the Word, and the Word is already in your mouth. So when the world tells you there's no work, no opening, no way forward, you do not collapse. You speak. You do not join in the chorus of economic fear. You decree. You do not wait for a system to approve your abundance. You walk in the truth that abundance has already been approved by heaven, and the evidence will come, not by bread alone, but by the word you just spoke. One more time, say it loud and final. Divine law doesn't need a job. Spirit is my supply, and my word is the signal that activates the immediate flood. And so it is. There is a posture to wealth. There is a tone to abundance. There is a gait, a breath, a vibration that flows from those who know, not hope, not strive, not try, but know that they already have. And if you are still waiting to see the evidence before you become the embodiment, you have misunderstood divine law. Law does not reward the observer. Law responds to the speaker. Law waits not for proof, but for posture. It aligns itself to your word and your walk. The world will tell you to act your wage, but I say unto you, act your word. Walk as one who has, speak as one who knows, think as one who commands. Not someday, not later, not eventually, but now. Say it with me. I walk as one who has, not one who hopes. Again, slower, with gravity. I walk as one who has, not one who hopes. That one sentence will change how you breathe, how you enter a room, how you answer your phone, how you sit down to dinner, how you open a bill, how you send an invoice. Hope is the language of delay. Having is the language of law. Hope waits. Faith acts. Hope pleads. Faith declares. Hope longs. Faith embodies. And heaven does not respond to longing. It responds to identity. When you walk as one who has, the universe recognizes its instructions. It begins to move form to match frequency. You don't beg the door to open. You arrive like someone with the key. Check your posture right now. Are you leaning forward in strain or sitting upright in certainty? Are you breathing shallow in reaction or full and deep in remembrance? Are your eyes darting in search or settled in knowing? Your body is your broadcast. It announces your belief before your mouth ever opens. So let your shoulders declare wealth. Let your breath preach peace. Let your tone radiate sufficiency. Speak without explanation. Move without justification. Laugh without restriction. These are the marks of the one who has. Now say it again, with the fire of finality. I am not waiting. I am overflowing. Let that phrase be your reset when the world offers you delay. When the appearance says, not yet, your mouth says, now. When the condition says, almost, your spirit says, already. You are not here to earn access to supply. You are here to walk in what has already been given, and given not through labor, but through word. I am not waiting. I am overflowing. Let it ring in every room you enter. Let it color every choice you make. Let it echo in your energy until the world has no choice but to reflect it back. This is not pretending. This is reigning. This is not performance. This is lawful embodiment. You are the wealth of God made visible. You are the overflow of heaven in motion. You are the spoken word with legs, with lungs, with rhythm. And when you walk, lack must part. When you speak, conditions must shift. When you breathe, atmospheres align. The outer world cannot resist the presence of one who has fully remembered their inner supply. So walk today, tomorrow, and forevermore, not as one trying to receive, but as one who has already received and is now releasing it into the world with every step, every breath, every word. Speak again, for the sealing of this truth. I walk as one who has, not one who hopes. I am not waiting, I am overflowing. And so it is. This is the final charge to your soul. This is the trumpet before the gate. This is the moment where you stop listening and start commanding. This is where theory becomes law, where inspiration becomes incarnation, where the word you've heard becomes the word you are. And I say to your spirit now, rise up. Let every molecule in your body remember. Let every cell become a sanctuary for truth. Let every shadow be expelled by the light of this one decision. I no longer speak lack. I decree overflow. No more waiting. No more hoping. No more agreeing with limitation and wondering why freedom delays. You are not confused. You are not lost. You are not unworthy. You are powerful, precise, divine, and fully equipped. You are the mouthpiece of law, and the law responds to you. You do not get what you want. You do not get what you deserve. You get what you declare, consistently, rhythmically, boldly, without apology. You get what your subconscious is trained to expect, and the only thing that trains it is the voice of your command. All those years of casual lack speech, of self-mockery, of I can't afford it and money doesn't grow on trees, they have written code into the fabric of your life. But today, that code is rewritten. Today, those programs are deleted. Today, the inner dialogue becomes sacred speech, not reactive, not emotional, but deliberate, decreed, divine. Because you are not a victim of the past. You are the author of what comes next. Say it now from the marrow of your bones. My voice is wealthy. Again, louder. My voice is wealthy. Say it until your nervous system calibrates to the frequency of divine supply. Say it until your cells recognize the pattern and begin to rearrange your life accordingly. Your voice is not casual. It is not decorative. It is not powerless. It is the activator of every spiritual law. When you say, I am rich in spirit, the invisible substance begins to gather. When you say, overflow is mine, the channels unlock. My voice is wealthy. Because your wealth is not stored in banks, it is stored in your vibration. And your voice is the key that opens the vault. Now anchor it even deeper. My word is law. Let those 4 syllables ring like a gavel in the courtroom of your life. My word is law. Not because of ego, but because of alignment. Because you speak from the seat of spiritual authority. Because you no longer beg. Because you no longer echo what you see. You command what must be. You do not just speak affirmations, you issue decrees. You do not describe reality, you dictate it. And when your word is law, the world must conform. There is no other outcome. Say it again. My word is law. Let the echo of that phrase go forward before you into every account, every invoice, every unopened envelope, every conversation, every transaction. Let it be the law that governs your entire financial reality. And now we seal it. Now we bring the entire journey into this moment of holy declaration. Stand in your soul, square your shoulders in spirit, and say with all the breath of heaven behind your tongue, my bank obeys my voice, and overflow is now. Say it again with the full weight of heaven in your chest. My bank obeys my voice, and overflow is now. Not tomorrow, not when the raise comes, not when the client pays. Now, because now is the only time the law understands. Because now is the frequency of creation. Because now is the truth that dissolves delay. One final time, speak this word into the atmosphere of your life. Write it in the walls of your consciousness. Declare it in every dimension of your being. My voice is wealthy. My word is law. My bank obeys my voice, and overflow is now. And let heaven say, Amen. And let the vaults stay open. And let your life reflect the law you just became. And so it is.